according to the World Happiness Report, the U.S. ranks number 16, and we find that very hard to believe, Unconventionals, because we were just in the U.S. for a month, and we were super stressed out.
One of our members posted this morning in our private chat community about this, and several of us who live in Ecuador chimed in and said how perplexing that is, given that Ecuador ranked number 76 on that scale, and it doesn't seem very accurate to us.
Yeah, we think the U.S. is just ranked too high because, like I said, we were super stressed out, and so many other people are so stressed out over politics, cost of living. Everything was so much more expensive. We had to drive everywhere, which was really stressful. Inflation is crazy, and healthcare is so expensive. And geez, you have to wait months just to go see a doctor. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, we spent more in 1 month on food and transportation than we spent in 6 months here in Ecuador. Every time we went somewhere, I just couldn't believe it. It was like sticker shock nonstop between the food and the cost of Uber and gas. We drove Amelia's parents' car, and it was $60 a week is what we spent on gas while we were there, which is more than double what we spent an entire month on transportation in Ecuador.
Yeah, it was definitely a eye-opening experience, and we are so thankful to be back home in Ecuador. You guys have no idea. We are so much calmer, although I still have a little bit of PTSD from that experience. But we are going to share the 10 reasons why we are so much happier living here in Ecuador than we are in the United States, and why you'll be happier living in another country too.
Yeah, even Ecuadorian expats who live in the United States or Canada or Europe probably are happier for some of these reasons just because they're not here in their home country. We think that just moving abroad to a different country actually helps with that happiness factor. So it doesn't matter if you're going or coming to a country, we think you'll probably be happier.
Number 10 on our list is moving abroad is an amazing new adventure.
You get to learn a new culture, new language, do new activities. We do things now that we never thought we would ever do. We experience things that I saw as a kid in National Geographic. We see that kind of stuff every day living abroad, especially in South America. It's such a beautiful, amazing country.
In the U.S., we did the same thing Monday through Friday. We worked all the time. I was always commuting, and it felt like Groundhog Day. And then we just lived for the weekends, and those weekends went by way too fast.
Yeah, all we did were errands and chores around the house. The whole weekend was spent working at home instead of enjoying life. And here in Ecuador, we get to spend all of that time enjoying our life and a lot less of it commuting.
Yeah, we have a lot more work-life balance for sure.
Number 9 is we have global friendships.
It is so amazing. We have met people from all over the world, and back in Denver, all of my friends were work friends, and all we did was talk about work.
They complain about work. It's more like it. Now we get to talk about all kinds of things like different cultures and activities, how people live in different countries. It's amazing how much our worldview has expanded, and also how much we now realize that everybody is pretty much the same everywhere. Really, the only thing that varies is the government that rules us. But the people, we all want the same thing. We all just want to be happy, live our lives, have friends, take care of our families, and be healthy. That's what most people want everywhere. When we lived in the United States, I guess we just did not have that perspective. Everybody seemed a lot different than us.
In the U.S., we live to work instead of working to live, and that is not the same way it is in most other countries.
Yeah, especially in Ecuador. People worked so that they can live and enjoy their lives here and spend time with friends and family.
With global friendships comes new languages, and it's super important that you learn the new language in your home country, which for us is Spanish. And a great way to do that is with LingoPie, today's sponsor.
They are always adding new shows and categories. You can create your own favorite playlists so you know what to watch next. One of our favorites is Ecuadorian Adventure with Damien. He went to Chimborazo in one of his videos, which is the closest place to the sun on Earth. And we're really happy he went there and showed it because we probably won't go there because of my elevation issues.
Yeah, I'm really glad he went there because I really don't have a desire to go in that high of elevation, and it looked freezing cold, but it was a really great way for us to practice our Spanish.
There are lots of really helpful learning tools built into the LingoPie interface. The script for the videos scroll right next to it so you can follow along with the written word if you want to. We find that really helpful.
You can play a sentence again to make sure you heard it correctly, and you could practice saying words to yourself and listen to your pronunciation with the Say It feature.
You can also loop a sentence over and over again to help with the comprehension, and you can adjust the speed so you can go at your own pace.
LingoPie also has flashcards, which will help you review and practice words and phrases.
LingoPie is always adding new features. It seems like every time we log in, there's some new toy to play with. That's one of the things we love the most about it. Plus, they're always adding new shows, new movies. It really helps keep you motivated and entertained, so you want to keep logging in and pressing play.
It does. It is one of our favorite ways to learn and practice our Spanish. And if you click the link in the description below, you will save 65% off the annual plan.
And now back to our list of why we are happier living outside the United States. And number 8 is it's more affordable.
It is so much more affordable living in Ecuador and in so many other countries compared to the United States.
Our rent in Denver was $1,800 a month for a tiny little 1-bedroom apartment. When we moved to Ecuador, our entire monthly cost of living was lower than that. So everything combined was less than our rent in the United States.
I know, it was just insane. We just could not believe how much more affordable everything was and still is.
We've talked about it before. One of the main reasons we had to leave the United States was because of healthcare. We just couldn't afford it there. And here, our health insurance for both of us is a fraction of what it was back in the U.S., and healthcare costs in general are just a lot lower.
Plus, we don't have to have a car, which is a major cost savings. We figured out we were spending about $1,200 a month to have our cars back in the United States. So that was cut right off the bat as soon as we moved to Ecuador. And I'm so much happier because now I don't have to have the stress of driving. I did not drive when we were in the United States. I don't ever want to drive again.
Yeah. Cost of food is also a lot lower in Ecuador. We used to go to Whole Foods when we were in Denver, or the natural grocers, and every time we left the store, it was $100 for 3 bags worth of groceries. Here we come home with like 5 or 6 giant bags of awesome produce. It tastes amazing, and we rarely spend more than $20 or $25 for like double the amount of food.
We've also been able to get fully furnished apartments or houses for a fraction of the cost of rent in the United States, and we've been able to live everywhere we wanted to. We've moved around the country, so we've been able to experience so much more while still saving money.
Yeah, it's really nice in Ecuador and a lot of countries is that you can rent furnished, so you don't have to bring all your furniture with you or buy furniture, which is a big expense. So we love that, and it makes it a lot easier for us to move when we want to.
Number 7 is better food. It's not that the food is cheaper here in Ecuador, it's also so much higher quality.
We were really disappointed in the food. It's one of the things that was like a culture shock, reverse culture shock for us, is that the food just doesn't taste that good in the U.S. I bought this beautiful looking apple at the grocery store and went to eat it, and it was terrible. It had no flavor. It was mealy. It wasn't even juicy. And here, when we buy apples, they're so good, and that's not even the best fruit that you can get in Ecuador. We also gained weight. I gained 8 pounds in 1 month in the United States, and we ate the same diet. We did eat out a lot more. I mean, we ate out way too much, which is a lot higher calorie, but I'm not going to say how much Amelia gained. She won't let me.
Well, no, I haven't actually gotten on the scale. I don't want to know. All I know is I came home and my clothes were tight. However, since we've been back and we've been eating a lot more healthy fruits and vegetables, and we have not been eating out as much, but my diet has changed, and I've noticed I've already lost a couple pounds, and my appetite has actually shrunk. And I think that's just because the food is so much more nutrient dense than what we had in the States.
Yeah, we just feel so much more satisfied after we eat that we don't keep eating. I don't know why that is, but when the food tastes like it's supposed to, you don't eat as much of it.
I think part of that was also stress eating. We were definitely doing some stress eating and stress snacking, which we are not doing here.
Number 6 is that we are just healthier, both mentally and physically.
Yep, we eat a better diet. We walk all the time because we aren't sitting all the time in a car or sitting in front of a computer on a desk or what have you. We get out and enjoy nature so much more. We have high quality friendships and interactions with people.
And we have more energy too. So we're always raring to go someplace, go walk somewhere. I'm swimming again. It feels great to be back in the pool. I didn't have access to a pool in the US, so we just drove everywhere, and we spent so much time driving, and it's so stressful driving in bumper to bumper traffic. And that took all of our time. We didn't have time for anything else. We tried to go for a long walk first thing in the morning before it got too hot, because that's the other thing. It was 105 degrees in Texas. So we had to get up and walk early, and we couldn't go as far because we had so much to do, and we had to go drive places, and we just couldn't stay nearly as active as we normally do.
No, we could not. And here, living in Ecuador, we have so many adventures that really keeps us stimulated mentally and physically. And I say it all the time, Ecuador is such an amazing country. I absolutely love it. And that is one of the great things about moving to another country, is that you have this whole new lifestyle and adventure, which makes you a lot healthier and happier.
Number 5, and this is a big one for me, and that is the healthcare is better. And I know a lot of people don't agree with that, but it even ranks higher than the United States on some of the charts, the rating systems. And we can say from firsthand experience that we are so much happier with the quality of healthcare here in Ecuador.
Oh, it's amazing. We can get in to see our doctor sometimes the next day. You can talk to the doctor directly. There is no time limit on how much time you can spend with your doctor, and you can talk to them about multiple things, so you don't have to worry about your insurance only covering this one little item. If you have a whole ticket list of stuff you want to check off your list, the doctor will take all that time with you.
Yeah, when we first got here, I was a little bit stressed because we didn't have any doctors yet, but then I found a primary care doctor who spoke English. He's awesome. I loved him in Cuenca. Then he introduced me to a spinal or a neurosurgeon who helped monitor my back. I haven't had to have anything done here, luckily, on that. Hopefully I never have to again, but I had him there and I met with him. He spent an hour with us going through my history and talking to me about physical therapy and things that I could do. He gave me a drug that helped with the neuropathy and my permanent nerve damage, connected me with a physical therapist who also spoke English, was trained in Belgium. And she really helped me strengthen my core and get me back in shape so I could walk better. And all of this was like a fraction of the cost. My physical therapy was $20 in Ecuador. It was over $100 in Denver.
Yeah, it's so nice to not have the fear of medical bills hanging over our heads. And this is true in so many countries. It's so much more affordable in so many other countries. You've got to look outside the border when it comes to healthcare, for sure.
Yeah, I just saw another article this morning that said that they're expecting healthcare costs in the United States to double again in the next 7 years. And each year they're expecting healthcare inflation to be double digits. So you're looking at more than 10% increase per year for the next 7 years. I just can't wrap my head around that. Why are we not protesting in the streets about this? We're the only country that deals with this problem. And I gotta say, it's a massive stress relief to leave that behind and go to a country that actually cares enough about its people to provide affordable health care.
Number 4 is that we have no commute, or I have no more commute, and I am so happy about this. I spent way too much time in my car commuting to appointments and to my job, and I do not miss that stress one bit.
Yeah, I didn't have a commute before we left Denver, but I have had commutes before, often 2 hours a day, an hour each direction. That was my average commute when I lived in the States from the time I started working until I quit and did my own thing. But it's so nice not to spend so much time in the car. I get to spend all my time with Amelia instead of coworkers I can't stand. so it's just such a huge relief. Although what makes that possible is that we both work online, and a lot of people don't have that flexibility yet. But you can, and there are ways to do that. We're going to be talking about that more in upcoming videos.
Life is a lot nicer when you can change your job to an online job. It gives you so much more freedom.
Yeah, so hit that subscribe button so you don't miss those videos. We have a whole bank of them coming.
Number 3 is that we have a lot less stress. In case you haven't picked up on that, this is a theme I've been talking about throughout this whole video. This is huge. We are just so much more relaxed living here in Ecuador.
One of the major things that helped with that is by saving so much money is we paid off all of our debt already since we've been living here. It would have taken 20 years if we had ever been able to pay it off back in the US. And because we paid off our debt, we've actually started saving for retirement again. We don't work for companies that provide retirement pension plans. Those went away quite a while ago. So we're kind of left to fend for ourselves in terms of retirement. We can't rely on Social Security being there when we retire in 15 years. So we really need to be socking that money away. it's nice. It's a huge stress relief to be able to see those accounts increasing in value now, as opposed to before just like treading water and not doing anything. That brings us to number 2, which is we are parapolitical here, meaning that we're kind of live outside politics, and as most expats do when you move abroad, because you don't have that historical baggage that comes along with a lifetime of political propaganda and disagreements and arguments and people that you don't like. We don't have any of that baggage here.
No, and of course, there are political issues here in Ecuador, as there is all over the world. So the Ecuadorians feel this, just like Americans feel that. And we felt it. We couldn't avoid the politics when we were back home in the U.S., and it's stressful. And it's so nice to be able to kind of disconnect from all of that, because we are not emotionally attached.
Yeah, we try to not look at the political news coming out of the U.S. because it still makes us mad. It still infuriates us. And it's a good reason why when the Ecuadorians become expats and move abroad, they kind of benefit from the same thing, because they go to another country like the U.S. and they don't have all of this lifetime of political baggage that they're carrying around. So they look at U.S. politics and, they might shrug their shoulders, but they're not going to get like emotionally upset or stressed out about U.S. politics like we do and like they do about Ecuadorian politics. It's really nice to be able to kind of be outside of that.
And number 1 on our list is the expanded worldview, which is just incredible. Once you leave your home country and you live elsewhere and you meet people from all over the world, you realize the world is not so scary.
Yeah, we're kind of led to believe that the world is a dangerous, scary place and we should just stay home. And once you travel abroad, you realize that it's just not. It's not like that. And you realize that people are very similar everywhere and they like sharing their culture with you. It's really a cool experience to have kind of your world view just explode. And you realize that we're just one little piece of the world and there's a whole world out there to explore.
Yeah, and we always tell you, you don't have to be gone forever. You can just go for a 3-month tourist visa. You can do what we did and make a permanent move. Some people come to Ecuador, they stay for 2 years, and then they move on to another country. The world is wide open for you to explore. And yes, there is crime and there are dangerous areas, and we are aware of all of that. And we tell you, you have to treat crime like you would anywhere in the world. So you need to take care of yourself and be careful. And we don't recommend going to the super dangerous places. We don't do that, because why would we?
For the most part, most of the places in these countries are safe. There are dangerous areas. You just have to pay attention to your surroundings and be careful and don't take unnecessary risks.
But don't let the scary news scare you off from traveling and living a new life abroad.
Yeah, we know literally hundreds, probably thousands of people who live here in Ecuador or live in other countries or traveling digital nomads, and they love the lifestyle and they love experiencing all of these different cultures. It's completely eye-opening. You'll never forget it. Even if you decide you want to go back and live in the U.S. and be close to family and friends, your life will forever be changed.
We have a lot of other videos about living abroad, so you might want to check this one out next.
Our quality of life is just so much higher once we left the United States. We found our happy place abroad, and you might too.
All right, Unconventionals, that is all for this video. If you liked it, leave us a thumbs up, please.
And we will see you all in our next video.
Ciao.
Ciao.